verdict as to penalty, count 1, murder. We, the jury, recommend and fix the penalty as death. Any exceptions to the form of the verdict by the state?
None from the state as to form or substance.
Any exceptions to the form of the verdict by the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Tonight, we're answering your questions after a Gwinnett County stepmom is convicted and sentenced to death row for killing her 10-year-old stepdaughter. We've been following this case since little Imani died 6 years ago. Latonia Hines is a prosecuting attorney for Cobb County, and she's helping offer some legal perspective on this case. And Latonia, what stood out to you after this ruling today?
Well, first of all, her own emotions. Not really any emotion whatsoever after this. I think that was very stunning. I think also most of us were very surprised to actually see that the jury went ahead with the death penalty on this. But what it shows is that Danny Porter and his office did what they needed to do. They were able to get the jury to understand that this is not about Tiffany Moss representing herself. She's not a poor person representing herself, that she doesn't understand the process, not because there's something mentally wrong with her. They had the jury be able to understand the facts of what happened. The facts that it was so horrific about what happened to Imani, and they kept that in their minds when they made this decision.
So they sentenced her to death. Her sentence is imposed for June 7th to 14th. That's when her execution date is scheduled for. What happens next?
So this is kind of the complicated part. If this was a normal case where that she had a defense that was an active defense, they would go ahead and file that notice of appeal. We know that we would be going through a series of motions and things before this actually ever went to an execution. But what we've got here is a difference. The difference is that she's not actively participating with her defense. But they already said today that they are going to go ahead and file an appeal. And you may see that other people, other organizations might try to file an appeal on her behalf. They may have no standing to be able to do so, but they might do it because death penalty law is very, very contentious, and there are great groups that say this is an unfair thing, it's cruel and unusual, and it shouldn't happen. And in this case, because she didn't represent herself, that this definitely is a travesty for this to happen.
I felt that it was fascinating that one of the only people who cried in the courtroom after this verdict was read was her standby counsel, one of those standby defense attorneys.
Yes, and you've got to remember too, the people who are doing the standby counsel, they are from the circuit defender's office. That office deals with those death penalty cases. They believe that the death penalty is not correct, that one shouldn't be imposed. So they live this, and think about what it must have been for them. It is so frustrating to have your hands tied behind your back when you want to be able to do a defense of this person and not be able to do it.
Anything.
And they were creative. They were definitely very, very creative.
Right. Well, they tried, and they're certainly going to get their chances. They've already filed a notice that they're going to file an appeal. If you have questions about this case, we're on Facebook Live right now. We're answering those questions. So log on, let Latonia know any questions that you have. We'll be answering them for the rest of the hour.
All right, guys, thank you.